Yeah, I don't want to go to jail for anything. I'm much too, weak.
And you're pretty. You are listening to the Stand Up Dads podcast.
This is hecka boring.
Yeah, it is.
Let's try again.
Oh, that's the...
Because that's number one.
That's the power. That's what was throwing me out. But why am I in number 2 then? All right.
You're in number 1.
All right.
So we are a year and a few weeks into doing this podcast together. And you're still figuring out how the equipment works.
This is not my job, so I don't learn. I commit nothing to memory that is not needs to keep me alive.
Apparently not. Jesus Christ.
I am totally dependent on the phone, for directions, places. I'm dependent on
not
you to make this work. The flashlight.
Anyway, this is Stand Up Dads. This is Rob and Mike.
Yes. And Kiki.
And Kiki, our
Right,
live
cat
studio
Who
audience.
likes to sit and listen while we record. It's her most favorite thing.
There we go.
Has her own seat, and then we put her to sleep.
What? That's not right.
No, I mean bore her. No, okay. No. Oh my God, we can't.
No animals are harmed in the recording of our shows.
Well, I was telling you before, we had to put down my other cat, Mariah, and Olivia is having a real hard time with it. I had a hard time with it too, because we had her almost 16 years. But
we're starting this one off on a downer.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well, it's just, I don't know. She wrote on her board "Hi, Mariah, I really miss you. I'm asking God to tell you I miss you so," or something. And then she wrote a little thing next to it that said, "Talk to me," see if she'd write her. And that was a tough one to try to explain, because she was "You're gonna say it's not possible," and I was well, I don't think Mariah couldn't write and she couldn't talk, so I go, more than likely you're gonna think you see her and you're gonna turn and she's gonna be gone, but that'll be in her, or she's gonna do something that you're gonna remember.
I think on Valentine's Day, Godfather's gonna get her a copy of Pet Sematary.
Let's go find a spot to bury it. Let's go dump her ashes into that unhallowed ground.
I haven't read Stephen King in a while, but that one messed me up.
The book?
Yeah.
Is the book good?
Yeah.
I should go read the book.
I don't know. I read it when I was still in grade school.
Ah.
You introduced me to fucking Stephen King.
I read all those, the Salem's Lot, one more. All his short stories were really good, yeah.
His son's pretty good, too. Joe Hill.
Oh, I gotta listen. I haven't read any of those.
Horns was a good one, where this guy just wakes up one day and he has horns that no one else can see.
Wow.
And he can tell he can make people do it. So he's pretty much becomes a devil.
Wow.
And he can get people to do whatever he wants them to just by saying, "Hey, go walk out into the street." Okay.
Wow.
And it's just it's so different. And
that's cool. Stephen King was great for that stuff.
Yeah, I remember when we did our 8th grade trip to Yosemite and we had the flat.
Yeah.
And we were stuck on the side of the road and it was getting foggy and dark.
Yeah.
And you started telling all these Salem Lot stories.
Oh, yeah.
I'm God damn it. Now I'm freaked out because of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally that scene from One More for the Road. That's the worst. These people break down in Salem's Lot. Oh. Yeah, and then when the guy comes back, he leaves his wife and his kid in the car. Yeah.
He does that a lot. Cujo, the kid and the wife are in the car.
Mm-hmm. You never want to leave your wife or your kid separate from you when you go do something like that. In general, but in a movie, it's perfect.
What's
Don't do that.
The old campfire ghost story where a couple goes to make out in the dark and then the guy goes out to check something out and then he doesn't come back and then you just hear the scraping on the roof. And the guy was hanging upside down and it was his fingernails on the roof. It was just all the stupid stories we would tell.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about this stupid shit today.
Well, it was... And then to brighten things up, I went to a field trip with Olivia, and she has the best questions. So it was for the Maydew Indians, and it was freaking awesome, this place in Roseville that I guess now, budget-wise, you can only go to it if you go to it with a school right now. It used to be open, I guess, years ago. Yeah, it really sucked. The guy took us around. The guy that took us outside he called himself, he was like, "You can call me Grandpa." Mm-hmm. He was really cool. Showed us how you make a bird call out of a turkey wing and all sorts of crazy stuff. But then when we get inside, there's a little old lady that's trying to do her talk and isn't very good at getting drawn off the subject. And she's talking about how the men would go and, they would do the hunting and they would do this. And Oli's got her hand up and she's like, yes. And she's like, how come only the men got to do it? Why couldn't the women do it? And got her arm crossed and furious. And her teacher's like, and the lady's like, oh, well, that's just how it was. Like, well, why did it have to be that way? It's just how they were. And she's like,
She's a ball breaker.
And then it keeps going, and the lady starts talking about, they didn't have written history. They had to they had to story tell, and from the grandfather to the great grandkids, they tell and teach how they did stuff or tell. And he raises her hand. She's like, yes. She goes, well, who were the first ones? The first two. The first maid was like, who were the first grandma and grandma? Like,
Jesus.
He's like, I don't know. And it's like the deep questions. Like, you're going to have to go back and learn about evolution. Yeah.
Squiggy Maidu, he got kicked out of the Ohlone tribe because he was an asshole.
Well, that's the problem when you do the stuff like where she'll go with her mom to like this church stuff. She'll go and they'll do like fun things with the kids, but they'll still teach them stuff from that. Because she told me that the other day, like not the other day, but a while back, like a year ago, she was like, do you believe in Adam and Eve? I'm like, no, that one's completely made up. She goes, what do you mean? Like, that one's completely made up. That's a story. That's a story,
As your child's godfather, I'm appalled by her religious instruction.
I know. Like, that one's totally a story.
I would love to teach her.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, yours is, like, too far the other way. Yours is, like, avoid. Nothing means anything.
No, everything means everything while you're here.
Yeah, while you're alive, your last breath is it.
So make the most of it while you got it. Don't save it for the afterlife. That's my philosophy on life. Anyway.
Yes.
Today, so last night I was watching Chopped with the wife and Owen, and it was, Chopped, the 4 cooks, and then every dish, they do an appetizer, someone gets kicked off.
Oh, yeah.
And it came down to 2 women, this cute little Chilean girl and a big, I don't know if it's PC or not, but for description's sake, a big bull dyke looking chick.
For description's sake.
Because you have a picture in your head. And she was fucking
I like
amazing.
how you try to say it to make it like, just so you know, academically speaking.
I don't know. But it definitely paints, it's an audio thing, so I need to give you a picture.
Yeah.
And Owen was starting to get mad because, it was 2 women in the final, and then Kim and I were discussing it, and she's like, why do you keep saying she? It's a boy. No, because he had really short hair like you did.
Yeah.
And I said, no, that's a lady. Looks like a boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, dude, it's okay. And then I was talking about she was talking about her wife. And he's like, see, it's a boy. He has a wife. And I'm
Dang
like,
it.
no, buddy. And then he just married, she just married a lady because you can do that.
Well, it sucks too because it's like at that age and even up until like the last few grades with Oli, it's like I feel like there's stuff like that where kids have to learn it where they get mad just because it doesn't follow the rule that they've already learned.
That's his thing.
Same with Oli when it's learning the sounds of stuff. It's like, oh, but this one doesn't follow it. What? Same thing.
He doesn't
like,
give a shit.
Yeah.
It's not like there's not a judgment there. It's just like
I've already learned this, and now I gotta learn something else. Yeah.
But because he does that in public. It's like, well, why does that man sound like a lady? Because it was a lady.
Yeah.
And he just goes, all right, but he doesn't have the tact. So the cool thing is he doesn't, because it was like, well, she's married. And he's like, ew. And I was like, okay, this is not okay. He's like, marriage is gross.
Yeah.
So it's more that the fact that anyone gets married to him is gross.
It's not that it's 2 women kissing. It's kissing.
Yeah. And that's just the whole idea. He doesn't, said, you can marry a boy or girl. It doesn't matter. He's like, oh, no, marrying's gross.
I don't want to marry. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, good. We dodged that. And the good thing is, like, in his class, like, there's 1 or 2 kids with 2 moms. And they're fucking hella cool. So it's not like it's this foreign thing to him. The one thing, so we're up in Folsom, this is Orangevale.
Yeah.
And so it's up by Sacramento. And we came up here from the Bay Area, which one of the few things I miss from the Bay Area is the diversity. And I always forget how whitewashed it is up here.
Yeah.
Until I go back down there and go, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want him to be so used to that. I think with little kids, they don't notice anything about color or any of that unless it's pointed out to them.
Yeah.
They just are like, do you want to play? Yeah, I want to play. Do you want to play? Yeah, let's go. And then they're fucking best buddies for the rest of that afternoon. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Which goes to show it's a taught thing. They may notice something different. Like the other day.
Then it becomes hard of trying to figure out how you say something because they'll just, like, sometimes like they'll explain it like just trying to describe to you who they're playing with.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who's that? It's like, oh, she's the one with the, like, she's the with the really brown skin. It's like, and then you're like, well, wait, can you say it? Wait, okay. Well, I know who you're talking about, but like, dang it. What do we say now so they know?
My kid will be like, the kid with the red shirt.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, couldn't you just say the black kid over there? But I don't, because, but I don't know. We were at Winco the other day, and Owen was in the cart, just standing in the front, because he likes to pick shit off the shelves when I point at it. And then there was this older guy with a turban on, and the fucking guy, he points right out and goes, Dad, look, a genie. I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's awesome.
And I cowered away and just was like,
that's amazing. That's
Dad,
amazing.
look, a genie.
Did he tell him Maka like a high Maka?
No.
Because it's like that type of genie. Head floating in there.
But I don't know.
That's hilarious.
This whole thing got me thinking about,
As a kid,
introducing your kids to diversity, because, he doesn't, like, I was thinking about, like, his class is pretty damn white. Like, there's a couple of Hispanic kids. I think there's a couple, maybe 2 Asian kids, and the rest is just, Aryan Brotherhood, little kids. And it's just, I don't know. I want him to mix with that. I don't want him to be, I see too much.
Yeah.
Too many goddamn Confederate flags up here.
That stuff's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell you something about like the religious stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to sound like it's going to be a downer, but I'm only going to talk about the funny stuff from it.
Better.
Because as a family, we're just wrong on stuff. But it was for my uncle's funeral, which was hard. They had, they make the little card.
Oh, the prayer cards.
And on the front, they had picked, it's like Jesus sitting there. And, it was a sad day, but then my cousin, Aaron, that you knew, he had come into town, and he was like, oh.
Tinky Flex?
Yeah, Tinky Flex. It's called Tinky Flex because my uncle at the time thought it was funny to teach the 6-year-old to punch you in the nuts and say Tinky Flex.
And you took advantage of that.
Oh, my God, yeah. And then
we talked about that.
Yeah. And then in 8th grade, we'd make him go Tinky Flex other people. Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway, so he asked Doug, like, oh, what's that? He didn't see the card. And Doug's all, that's his rookie card. So it looked like Jesus' rookie card. And we're hecka laughing about it. I'm like, oh, I got to give it to Oli because she'll put it with her wizard card.
Oh, dude.
I got you a good wizard one. This one's Jesus.
This is the wizard.
So now you got Dumbledore, Jesus, and McGonagall.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was so funny, man. Because he said it so seriously, and I don't know. Oh my God, we were dying. He's like, "Oh, that's Jesus' rookie card."
Doug.
And I was like, man, this is so our family to be like. And I know my uncle would have been like, because the other thing that happened that we were like, we knew, like, we expected almost to hear my uncle giggle was my dad's boutonniere kept sliding down, and we're like, Dad can't keep it up. And then my mom came over and fixed it. And then my aunt came over and is it fixed now? I go, yeah, Mom just had to play with it a little, and now it's staying up. And we're and we're like, we were totally like my uncle would have been. Right, but you'd see my dad was like, funny. It's like she just had to play with it a little bit. Now it's fine.
You're making jokes about your mom giving your dad a hand job.
Totally.
At a funeral. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How do we get back into this? Well, I'm just gonna go into this. There's a comic named Ryan Singer, who discusses race in a way kids can understand. Mm-hmm. And here we go.
I had to teach my students the history of America one time. These are difficult concepts for adults, alone kids to understand. So I figured I'd use their favorite thing in the world to relate the story to them, right? Which was snacks. So this is the history of the United Snacks of America. Hundreds of years ago, the crackers broke free from the oppressive reign of the Fig Newtons. And they moved to that magical cookie jar across the sink. They were tired of being taxed. Taxation without representation, they said. So they planted a flag of freedom in this new cookie jar. And the crackers thought this was good. There was one problem. The peanut butter cookies already lived there. This didn't bother the crackers, so they crushed the peanut butter cookies, leaving nothing but a trail of crumbs behind.
And we just.
Or you can gamble or go buy cheap tobacco today. After a while, the crackers grew tired of doing the tasks they believed were beneath them. We're crackers. We shouldn't have to farm or build things, so they thought. So you know what they did, right? They abducted the brownies.
A little on the nose.
Because the crackers hated the brownies because they were nutty and full of flavor. Brownies can dance, crackers can't. Everybody knows that. And then one day, one cracker freed all the brownies, and there was a big war. Cracker killing cracker. Eventually, the good crackers won, and the brownies were freed. Although they only considered 3/5 of a cracker. But they took what they could get, you know? But now they didn't even want to do the work for them. So you know what the crackers did next? They got the Doritos from underneath the sink. And paid them lower wages for the same work. There's some talk about building a chip clip to keep them down there, but...
Keep them down there.
They forgot the bagels control all the money, right? So where are we now in the cookie jar, you might be asking yourself? Well, I think it's safe to say that all of us are united, you know, in our fear of the fortune cookies. There's like 1 billion of them. We owe them a lot of money. And they all have such tasty wisdom wrapped up inside. Your lucky numbers. I think we're also united in our anger at the pecan sandies. For controlling all the Crisco for so long. And the croissants have never been any help. They seem to have forgotten that if it wasn't for us, they'd be speaking strudel right now. But in the end, it doesn't matter who we are or what our differences are. We can always overcome here in this magical cookie jar of ours. I think we've proven that. I mean, look at the crackers and the brownies, for example. We put aside our differences. Hell, we even started making families together. And that's how the Oreo cookie was born.
So dumb.
And is now President of the United States of America.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I always hate that thing about the French don't appreciate, they were speaking German. Well, we'd still have a king if they didn't step in during the revolution.
It's selective memory.
No one likes, there's no, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, that reminds me, I got into it with a fucking guy, went to Walmart to get the sodas.
Yeah.
There was a guy with an impeach Gavin Newsom thing.
Oh, I avoid those tables. Yeah. Oh, so you didn't. Tell me what happened. Cause
he was
I
like,
saw
so,
that
you want to sign
our
petition? Why do you want to impeach him? Because he's liberal? That's it?
That's it?
I'm like, no. And then he had another sign that said, save Uber and Lyft. He's like, well, how about this one? I'm like, why do you want to preserve minimum wage jobs? And he's like, what? Well, because...
Why do you want to preserve, where they don't have to pay for your
He's like, well,
insurance?
you should be free to work at wherever you want. I'm like, you could be free to work. I mean, you're actually doing worse than minimum wage here. You know, it's just...
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is fucking horrible.
You want more jobs where you're not going to have medical coverage for your family.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, this is... And then I felt myself like, okay, either I'm going to dig in and really get up this guy's ass, or I have to go.
Because he's liberal. That's all he had to say. Oh, my God.
Actually, to be fair, I think he said because he's too liberal. But I'm like...
Well, explain. Like, what are some of the
what
things...
has he done that
What
you
are the
hate?
things that...
Nothing.
It's
just... He ain't one of ours.
Yeah, that's what I hate the most. So where people become like it's sports teams.
It really
It really is. It's like, well, I'm not a liberal, and I'm not a. It's like,
And we're in the middle of the impeachment, which I'm not even gonna.
We
All
should
right.
have an episode on that because that does bug me.
No, because I'm just going to start yelling. It's just, I'm pretty sure everyone knows where I stand on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, let me take a break to go suck a tree's dick. Anyway, so I was looking up stuff about ways to teach your kid about diversity. At some point, this is all taught. So I think if you prep them so that when they first start realizing there's differences, they can approach it nicely.
Yeah.
Part of it's not even a teaching; it's just what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's how they learn is watching how you interact and interact with diverse friends. So if they only see you with white folk, guess what? They're going to think there's something wrong once they realize there's something different.
Yeah.
This one I don't like so much. Buy toys that promote diversity. I think they're pushing it there.
I think that's pushing it because it's like most of the time the kids don't even like Ollie's not even picking. I mean, her LOLs are like weird mutated things.
Exactly.
And that's the closest that's actually like humanoids,
That's one thing I love about like his favorite show right now is Big City Greens.
Okay.
And it's hilarious because my wife hates that show.
I've never seen it.
It's not bad, but everyone is a different color, and it's not like you'll see, like the family is like all yellow, like Simpsons yellow, but they're interacting with purple, blue, green guys, yellow guys. It's not, and it's not even like, oh, the purple guys are black guys, the yellow guy. No, it's not.
Just showing people.
It's just this happens to be, here's a guy that has features of someone that would be African who's green, but there's another one that looks exactly the same who's blue. So
they just mix it up.
Disney, obviously you could say Disney whitewashed everything for decades.
Yeah.
And now suddenly they're going the other way where everything
Which
looks
is
like
fine.
a UN meeting. Yeah. I mean, sometimes they push it a little too far. But anyway, I like that because there's no...
Well, I like it in the fact that they're doing it in a way from what you're describing that it becomes just part of the landscape. It's
exactly.
Not, whereas for years we used to have to deal with like learning games and even in cartoons where it would be like your group of kids that are in the game or in the show are ethnically diverse. So that it's so over the top that you're just like, and then they would totally fall into it's like they're being good, like, oh, I'm being ethnically diverse, but then the Asian kid is the smart one who reads books. It's like they still are like, well, is that really helping? Like,
no, this one is just they just happen to be purple.
Yeah, see, that's better. Where it's just like, it's just part of it.
And we talked about it the last time when we had Damien on the Peanuts. I mean, I'm not a huge Schultz fan, but I love the fact that he put Franklin in.
Yeah.
Is it Franklin?
Yeah.
Or was it Franklin?
Yeah, it was Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forcing it, pushing the issue. And my dad, growing up, my dad was racist as shit. So I was hyper aware of this stuff, to the point where I was afraid, and then I, what came down to it is just interacting with people. It's like, oh, you're just a person just like me.
Yeah.
And who cares?
Well, and then, and a lot of it would come from, how they were raised or the specific ones, like my grandma. It took me a while when I was little. I would be like, geez, because my grandma would hate the Japanese, like Japanese in general. She just talked to them, talk about it as if it's just like a group that's walking around. But then
your grandma was around during Pearl Harbor.
She was not just around, she was at Pearl Harbor. She worked watched it happen.
Okay.
And knew. So I remember as a kid going with her and my grandpa to the memorial.
Sure.
And still, I'll get chills remembering. You look down and you can see but back then, I don't know if it's sunk more, but you could see the ship.
Yeah.
And she's describing to me and telling me who's down there.
Yeah.
Of who was on the ship. That's
she probably knew some of them.
She's telling me who she knew that's down there, and I'm like, ooh, expecting to float up and grab me or something. And she watched it happen. My grandfather was there. I have his pass that shows like 6 months before Pearl Harbor, where he's got his little pass to get onto the base because he was working at like Ford or something, and my grandma was like a waitress.
Yeah.
So like they were there,
That's
like
crazy.
actually there.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that when I learned that, it's like
that.
Oh.
Well, it's like how people that New Yorkers are really, because of 9/11, they're way more. Because I think we were, as far as on the continental U.S., we were the furthest possible.
Yeah.
And to me, 9/11 was, it was a bad, horrible day, but it happened 20 years ago. But I never thought about it. Like if you were at Pearl Harbor, holy shit.
It changes everything. And then she would tell me that like people she knew, they flew so low that they could see them. They could see them smiling, flying by.
Wow.
And I guess they would also just shoot randomly as they were going, but they could see them. It's like,
crazy.
holy shit. It's completely different because then you go,
Yeah.
oh, well, I could
Yeah.
see how that might be
So
traumatic.
that kept up till she died?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so was one of
Was it
the,
only Japanese people, or was she like that with other people too?
the Hawaiians too, because
Well, okay.
because when you're on Hawaii and you're Portuguese,
Yeah.
you're like less than
I know.
you're less than just a white person.
I
What
know.
do they call us?
Haole.
Not just howlies. You're a real piece of garbage if you're Portuguese that lived there or was
No.
born there. They give you extra hell. But I know Melissa's grandfather too. Not on her dad's side, but on her mom's side. He also was that way, but he was in that movie that Clint Eastwood did, where he did one movie from the point of view of the Japanese and one
Yeah.
where we landed
Yeah.
in Japan
I can't
before the
remember it, but
bomb.
yeah.
He was in that.
Oh, shit.
And he was like burned from a
Oh, fuck.
what is it?
Flamethrower?
Flamethrower and shit. Like,
Dude.
So he till his dying day they couldn't sleep in the same bed, him and the grandma, because he would have fucking night terrors and
Jeez.
try and wake up trying to strangle
Still.
you. Because it was hand to hand. Like
Fucking A.
he only survived because one of his friends came and actually dragged him out. So like that stuff's where you're like, well, all right, well that racism's tied to trauma.
It just
my
reinforces-
grandma would have been. She was like 21,
Oh, wow.
seeing her friends get killed. So that I think that's the things like
she
for
probably
him.
gave breakfast to someone, or the day before.
Yeah, and he was probably
And-
like 18, 19 having that happen. So, yeah, that changes it where it's
Yeah.
like that's a different than what we're dealing with here where we're
Yeah.
trying to teach our kids to be open.
Yeah.
Some of those things where it's like that's where it's almost like we have to explain to them like, well, some people that's why you have to you have to worry about yourself because some people you're never going to change what they're thinking because you don't know where they're coming from. They could just be coming from ignorance. They could be coming
My
from
dad was
trauma.
just coming from ignorance. I remember shit in high school. I took our token black girl to a dance. I think it was like winter ball.
Yeah.
And I put up the picture because we were cool. I had no we never nothing. We weren't
Yeah.
going out. It was just we went to the dance together.
Yeah.
And my dad flipped out. It's like, what the fuck is this?
God.
He said, why are you in a picture with a black girl? I'm like, we went to the dance
Jeez,
together.
Dad,
She's a friend of
yeah.
mine. And oh fuck, man, it was just like,
Yeah.
it was like I just murdered someone right in front of him.
Jesus.
I was like, fuck, dude. But
Yeah.
wouldn't he be happy now watching how fucking much of a lefty I am?
Funny.
Okay, next tip: serve ethnic foods, which I guess
Mm.
that's probably good just to do anyway because
Yes. And I hate right now. I know, but the thing is, I know once Oli's older, like I don't worry about it too much because I know
No.
as a kid. Also, my dad doesn't like to eat. Like so, as a kid, like it wasn't until I was like 18, 19 that I actually started to get to go
Yeah.
and try like this is what sushi is.
you and me both. Yeah.
It was all like fish sticks or like
white people food.
yes.
I
So
know.
now like I'm pretty sure when she gets older, like that's when you get to go and go like
But you can still introduce them to
food
some
is
of it.
delicious
Yeah.
and like I'll take her, but like I told you before, she thinks Chipotle's lime rice is that's spicy.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like
I
you
know.
then I don't even want to waste the food. Like I'll
I
give,
get you.
You can have a bite off of my food because I know right
Yeah.
now you're gonna go.
But as long as they
"Ah,
understand
hot."
there's other stuff out there.
Yeah.
I mean, because
She
I-
definitely sees me eat
Yeah.
whatever,
And
like,
maybe that's
yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
I'm just always disappointed when I meet a grown person that's just like, it
Yeah.
ain't meat and potatoes. I don't want it. Well,
Yeah.
fuck you. Just
Yeah.
have some Ethiopian. I remember I took
One
some-
of my good friends, I was furious that he eats his steak well done, and I'm like, what? Like I can see when you get mad, like how rare I like
Yeah,
mine
yeah.
sometimes is too much for someone, but completely killed is
Yeah.
how we were as a kid. That's how my dad
Yeah.
wanted it, and that makes me furious. Like,
I know.
like
I
why
know.
even eat the meat then? We might as well just
know.
get like
Just
a
eat
rat.
the fucking briquette.
We should just eat rats and grind them. If you're gonna cook them that much,
I
like
know.
what are you gonna taste at that point?
Nothing.
Yeah, let's just eat squirrel.
No,
I
but
bet it's delicious. I would
No.
try it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Depends how you prepare it.
Try
Probably.
anything once. Well,
Yeah.
we talked about on Gag on this. Some guy.
You better not try a human though. You said
Well-
you try anything.
But here's the thing. This
What?
guy apparently he had lost a leg, like his lower leg or a foot, in a motorcycle accident. So apparently somehow he got the foot back and found a friend of a friend who was a chef to cook it fajita style.
His foot?
His own foot.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. But, and then I remember my disagreement about the whole thing wasn't that they were eating a foot, but that feet have so much connective tissue in there that you should do a slow roast.
I just think
like short ribs and get it to where it's fall off the bone. Anyway,
that makes no sense. Why would you want to
don't fucking know. Did you leave the toenail?
I know.
Anyway.
But probably part of the presentation. Like at that point, you might as
if
well
it
do
looks
them
like
fancy.
a foot, that would be creepy. But
you
yeah,
might as well have painted them all with like cool little things on it, and you place it around the
do you
edge.
shave it?
I bet it burns off in the cooking.
No, gross. No, I remember. Talk about ethnic foods. When I was a kid, my family we would go halves with other families on like a whole hog, and I remember
that sounds delicious.
Well, it's not.
No,
because that was the one where we had to kill it ourselves, and I was holding the pan. We talked about that.
Oh yeah.
But I'll never forget how someone took a blowtorch and just burned off all the hair because they're hairy.
Yeah, you got to get that out. Yeah,
and that smell, I'll never forget it. So anyway, okay,
that sucks because then it ruins it for you.
No, it was still good. No, I mean I always came from you know where your food comes from. It doesn't come from the store. It comes from something that lived. Mm-hmm. Read cultural books. So kind of understanding cultural differences. Yeah, I mean, with little kid books, it's pretty easy to do because it's just the way they celebrate stuff.
Yeah,
this one I think is the most important. Travel to different places.
Yeah, I think reading in general is something that people don't do enough. I think just reading opens your mind up to stuff. Because I was realizing the other day just some of the books we've read that
Pet Sematary.
Well, that just in general promote stuff like you wouldn't think of, like Wind in the Willows, like four friends that are completely different people. Sure. They're different animals, but like them, it's basically them kind of navigating their friendship when they're completely different people that shouldn't even be hanging out, But
totally.
Like that one, even the Harry Potter.
God. I was like, are we going to make it through without a fucking Harry Potter?
Nope, because now I'm going to keep
doing
it.
Yeah, but you're stuck into you're going back into the whiteness.
Yeah, you're right that they don't do enough of that.
There is nothing more white than Harry Potter.
Yeah, they didn't do enough. And they overdo it when they do the Cursed Child now. Like, they basically make, Hermione and the Sorting Hat and the Hagrid, It's like it's kind of like trying to fix an old problem, I guess. That is probably one of their major.
That's what I loved about
weaknesses of it.
Hamilton. When we saw it,
I want to go see that. And
fucking go see it. Yeah. But it's hilarious because like Hamilton's a black dude, Washington's a black dude, Burr's a black dude, and you're like,
I did not know that. Thanks for ruining that for me.
There's nothing to ruin. I mean, you see it when you see the posters for it. But no, it was just cool because and then after that inspired me to read Burr, which I started like 20 years ago and never finished. And I finally did it now. And the whole time I'm picturing this black dude. Wow. I'm like, wow. But no, fucking interesting book. Makes Jefferson look like a real fucking dick.
Wow.
As does Hamilton. So, but anyway, back to the travel. That's the best way. We took the boy to London and to Portugal, which are both pretty goddamn white, but at least you can see there's other ways to look at stuff. Mm-hmm. And, it's a good start. We're talking about going down to maybe South America or Costa Rica or something like that later. And that would be a nice eye-opener, although it's tough because a lot of times you end up in resort areas, which it's not the real thing, but it's kind of a scary thing.
I want to go to South America.
Yeah.
Find a wife.
No, it doesn't work.
No. I would like to live. Oh, my God. If we could, I'd live somewhere. I'd like to live like in an island, like Bahamas or somewhere like...
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? I would love to live on an island.
Nope.
I'd live on Hawaii if I could with my aunt, like go rent from my aunt or something. If I didn't have to be tied to an area, I'd live on an island. You couldn't handle an island?
I don't like the heat.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
I'd live in Banff before I did that.
What's Banff?
It's a little ski area near Calgary in Canada. That's where we did our honeymoon. Fucking gorgeous. Attend a cultural
festival. I don't like the
festival.
cold that much. I like to visit the cold. A cultural festival, smart. Yeah, that's always fun.
They have stuff like they'll even. Just go to stuff. I think the more stuff you do, the more you're.
The more
realize,
events, the more shows you take them to, like getting them to see more things.
Clan rallies don't count.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'll never forget. There was a fucking asshole that was like proud that his grandson's first word was the N-word.
What?
And it's like, what
Where was that
That
from?
was like way back when. This is like in the old, like Howard Stern when he was still on the radio.
Oh, okay.
This is like 20 years ago. But, there's still people out there.
There's still people out there. There's still people. Like you said, there's still people that'll put the Confederate flag on their car where you're just like, dude.
You lost.
Well, no. Are you thinking past, like, is this person thinking this through, which makes it even worse? Or are they just so stupid that they're like, well, I like Dukes of Hazzard, Like, some people think of it that way where they'll put it up because of, like, Leonard Skinner or something. And you're like, no, jackass.
I will say it is a cool looking flag.
Maybe, and that could be it, too. Well, they're just like, I like that flag and I like country music.
Yeah, it's a cool looking flag, but that's about as far as
They
it goes.
don't get it, yeah.
I think it looks better than the Stars and Stripes, but what do I know?
The color scheme's better,
anyway.
And it's got, the better design.
Yeah. But that's about as far as it goes. I think it's a shitty symbol because it's just, anyway.
We have a pretty cool project in my class. That's the last one is redesigning a flag of your choice.
Okay.
Which is odd in the fact that I will get at least 5 kids a semester that'll argue with me that I don't want to do this because I don't believe in any, like, I don't like to get involved with any political countries or what. I'm like, I said you could do a state, so don't tell me you're against California or whatnot. I also said you could do like an imaginary one if you want that you've read a book. You could do one from. Well, I'm like tie it.
Hunger Games.
So because you're supposed to tie it. Like you're making it and you're tying it and you're explaining what you're doing based on the history of whatever, that country, that state. So if you're going to do that, I want to see your explanation of why you did it for Hunger Games, why you did it for the Oz, whatever you do.
Sure.
But it's ridiculous. You'll get that. Or it'll be stuff. A lot of times they'll say for religious reasons. I mean,
fuck you.
You're religiously against the California flag. Or I haven't said, like, you can even use like an old one, like Don't Tread on Me, or just one that you like the image to redo, or... It's just funny.
For the California bear, where he's going to be an assless chaps.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's a bear.
Yeah. And if you send it to me, I'd be like, all right, that's a great one. Any other teacher, you're going to be like, you're getting a write-up. We're going to talk.
Yeah. Well, the last one there was learn a foreign language, which that's kind of asking a lot. I'm pissed that I didn't teach it to my kid because I grew up, my first language was Portuguese.
Yeah.
But I've forgotten more than I remember.
Oh.
But it was fun when we went to Portugal because he could finally... I had to speak in Portuguese to people. Oh. So he was just... and anytime my kid hears something foreign, it's Spanish. Because we were friends with this Persian family. Yeah. And they spoke Farsi. He's like, why are you speaking Spanish?
I love him right now because right now he is so... the most hilarious ugly American because he'll say stuff. I love where he's just like, "Why is that old man eating all the chips?"
Yes, totally.
I love that. It's a wizard. Yeah. Why are you so boring? He's so like flat out. Everything is so, and
which
it's
is why
hilariously
I'm bringing
true.
This up
yeah, I love it. Yeah.
This is the same guy that goes, "Hey, Dad, it's a genie." Okay, you can't do that. We're going to get in trouble.
And what sucks is, are you able to control the giggle? Because sometimes. I don't know if I can.
I have to walk.
Like
sometimes I have to walk away.
Yeah. If he had said genie, I think I would have been, and then told him, and it would have been too late because the haha would have been, oh, well, I'm funny.
No, I
Damn it.
bit my cheek to where I like saw red because I was like, God damn it, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But you're better at hiding your facial expression.
Sometimes.
I think it's too much on me where you can see like. Because Oli sometimes when she'll say stuff when I'll be like, you can't do that, whatever, she'll be like, but you thought it was funny. I saw your face. And like, yes, it was funny, but you still get,
Yeah. Well, that brings us to, I found a site that was, it's geared for teachers on how to teach diversity.
Oh, good.
And it's this big, long thing. I'm just going to pick out some highlights. It's pretty much teaching kids to be critical thinkers, thinking about prejudice and discrimination. It's like, why would you do that? What is it that would, just to help them develop the skills.
Yeah.
And then, if they ask you something, say, and you don't know the answer because, fuck, it's deep. Kind of like I could see Olivia asking stuff like that. Say, I need to think about it and talk to you later.
Yeah.
But don't forget, because I might think it's not important. But this one stood out as super important. Listen carefully to what they're saying. Ask some questions before answering to get a better idea what they really want to know.
Yeah, because we think because they're completely off, like you were saying, where he's like, he wasn't upset with two women kissing. It was marriage.
Yeah,
and
in general,
anyone kissing in general.
Well, like that reminds me of I used to work with a girl who had she had a kid that was working on a crossword puzzle, and she was like, "Mom, and she was like 9 or something.
Yeah,
what's a condom? And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Spell it." So COND. I was like, "Okay." And then she goes into this whole explanation about what a condom is, and she said the daughter looked at her all crazy. She's talking about sex and everything, and they haven't really talked about it.
Yeah.
She's like, "That doesn't make any sense." She's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, look." And then it turned out the word was condominium. And they were like supposed to do a crossword puzzles on types of buildings. And she's like, "Fuck!"
No, I think that's awesome.
So save yourself some trouble and ask for, what exactly do you know? And if they do say fucked up shit, like anything that's prejudiced or racial, call them on it right away. Just because if they think it's okay, if it's sexual, ethnic, anything.
Yeah.
And also try and set up ways where they can interact with people that aren't the same as them.
Yeah.
Which I think is huge.
I think you also, you have to mindfully edit what you say in front of them.
Totally.
Because I have not, in terms of just in general swearing. So I know that one day Oli's going to talk like a sailor. She's going to be like, motherfucker, son of a bitch. But like in general, I won't say anything that's derogatory like that in front of her. Because I would hear that a lot. That's just like when we were kids. You'd hear that even from like teachers at the parochial school. You'd hear stuff coming out of them, that were not right,
I'll know when my kid is copying me with swearing when he says Jesus fucking Christ, because that's pretty much my go-to. So that's I don't think I've said it in front of him, at least not too often.
I try to change it where I'll say frickin', and now frickin' to Olivia is just as bad. So she'll say, "Can you please not say frickin'?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I made that into..."
derivative of frigging, which is finger blasting, so...
What's finger blasting? What?
Yes.
Fricking, to me, was a way of saying fucking without saying fricking,
Well, that's fucking without fucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, that also got me thinking about not only race and gender, but also, people with disabilities. Because he's getting to the point where it's like, why is he in that chair? It's like, well, because he needs to, and we did that the other day at Target. There was a guy who was probably older than you're used to seeing they have like a special cart at Target, which I thought was really pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the guy had cerebral palsy. He was getting pushed around, and I was like, oh, he just needs that to get around. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a judgmental thing. He wasn't scared. It was just... So that got me thinking. And then, have you seen Josh Blue?
No.
He's a comic with cerebral palsy. And I've seen him a couple times at the Punchline. Fucking hilarious guy. He's got some albums out. They had him on CNN. Here's like a little minute clip that intros this. And I think he's really fucking amazing.
There's no better feeling in the world than making a room full of strangers laugh and being heard. And as a disabled person, I feel like a lot of times we don't get to be heard. I'm a comedian that happens to have cerebral palsy. No, I do have some CDs and DVDs and T-shirts, and I also have some handicap placards. The way that my body works, that people are always going to stare at me. I was like, well, then I might as well give them something to stare at. Why can't Spider-Man have cerebral palsy?
He's like blowing web all over himself.
The thing about my comedy and my life is that I'm so comfortable with my disability that you don't have a right to be uncomfortable.
I like
you
that.
leave my show with a different perspective of disability.
That's
I've done
awesome.
over probably 2,000 shows all over the world. Do you have some type of brain injury? I was like, does it show? Stand-up was my first love. I would really love to help bring disability into the limelight and keep breaking down the stereotypes of what disability is.
So I'll put links for all this stuff. But yeah, I've seen him a couple times. He was hilarious, and it's not all
I'd go
about,
see him. That's pretty funny.
He's always at Sacramento Punchline.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just about...
Where's he from?
I don't know, actually.
Because it is odd that he would always be at Sacramento unless he's around here.
Okay, he's on there a lot.
Oh, okay.
Not always.
Yeah.
But he think he's from... He was born in Africa.
Wow.
Like, his parents were, like, teaching English in Africa.
Okay.
And that's how, so he's, like...
A dual citizen?
I don't know
That's
about
pretty
that,
cool.
but I don't know if he's that, but he has a whole bit about being African American, and he's hella white. So, okay, so further with Josh, this is where, here's an example of his comedy where he kind of does talk about the palsy and puts it to his advantage. Hang on one second.
So I took my son to the 7-Eleven to get him a popsicle. And I got one too. Because they're fucking delicious. And we had extra change from the walkover. Anyway, when I came out of the 7-Eleven, there was this, gangster. Yeah, and I'm talking a thug, not a mafia. Anyway, this dude was just leaning up against the 7-Eleven, just looking pretty mean. He looked like someone that you wouldn't really want to talk to. So that's what I did. I walk right up to him and go, "Could you open my popsicle?"
I love that.
Yep.
So, and you can just picture the guy
Took him right out of his comfort zone.
That's awesome.
He did it, though. He did it. And I can assure you, it's hard to look hard when you're opening a popsicle. That's right, palsy, breaking down barriers.
I love that. Because you figure that guy's... It must take so much energy to sit there and try to look tough and give off the vibe of don't fuck with me. And then that
Open this
happens in you.
popsicle?
Because you're thinking shit. Then he's like, all right, but hurry up. Move along. Here's your popsicle. Back to tough.
There's him, and then I remember we've had Dan, the can't stand up comic, on Gag on this a couple of times, maybe a few times. It's always fun having him just because...
I love that name. That's
Dan,
great.
the can't stand up comic. He has spina bifida, and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And, the cool thing is, you talk to him, and he's just a fucking guy, you know? And they want to be treated like everyone else, which means you fuck with them just like you fuck with everyone else. So it's like, you feel like, oh, I can't make fun of this guy because, I'm doing it to his face. And, we go back and forth. So
that's cool.
It just reinforces that, they're just fucking people, man. And Kim sent me this, it was like a meme that it was just how to teach special needs inclusion. Yeah. And the one thing that stuck out that really, because, what we always tell our kids is, we always tell them, don't stare. And instead of that, teach them to say hello, because fucking why not? Because, you have questions. And that's the thing, talking to Dan, is like, just fucking talk to me, ask me. He's like, I have kids asking me shit all the time. It doesn't bother him. Mm-hmm. Provided it's not, they're just coming from a good place. There was a thing on disability etiquette and how to respect people with disabilities. I'll post this because I act all weird when I see someone with a disability. And then I realize, well, shit, my dad was deaf, and technically that's a disability.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything twice about that. So it's kind of, I don't know. And I think with me, it's like, well, fuck, that guy's dealing with all sorts of shit. I don't have to deal with any of that shit, and I'm still a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just kind of, find commonalities. We all have something in common. He wants to get laid too. This was a big one. Do not victimize people with disabilities, because a lot of people say he's a spinal cord injury victim or a cerebral palsy. I cannot fucking say that word. Victim. Don't use the word fucking victim. It just takes away their power. It's just, if you're going to use something like that, he's a spinal injury survivor or whatever. Or don't even fucking say anything, Don't assume it's a fucking tragedy, because now you're going to make them feel like shit. You know, if you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you," now it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And adjust posture so that you're eye level. If they are in a wheelchair, don't get down on a knee because then it feels like
Yeah.
you're talking to a kid. Sit down, find a table. Hey, let's
Oh.
sit over here.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll fucking talk. You know, make eye contact. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, that's a general rule for anybody. You know,
Yeah.
treat them like you would anyone else. If you don't make eye contact with other people, then maybe you shouldn't make eye contact with them because then it's going to come off as creepy.
Yeah.
And if you think they need help, ask them first.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, do you need me to get the door? And they may say, nah, good. Or, I good. They
Yeah,
might say,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good. Or they might say, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of, if you just assume that, oh, you're helpless without me, it's kind of a fuck you. Even though you mean well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember we had a guy in our high school that, I don't know what he had, but I was always impressed by him because he would do wrestling and all that stuff. And I remember he played basketball in grade school, and he was falling down all the goddamn time. And
Yeah.
I remember he had like huge upper body strength because he was always picking himself up. But he was kind of a jerk because, you know, it's like, hey, let me get that for you. No, fuck you. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, but I can just imagine all the shit that led up to him being a jerk. You know? So
Yeah.
don't underestimate the abilities of someone with a disability. And then, yeah, and I think this is the biggest one to end on. If they have a caregiver, speak to the person before the caregiver instead of just like,
Yeah.
what does he want?
Yeah.
You know, there was, oh, fuck, who was the comic? God damn it, that's going to bother me. But they were all hanging out after. It was a guy, I don't know what, I think he had palsy. They were at a Denny's, like, after a show.
Yeah.
And the waitress took everyone's order, and then she, it's Christopher Titus. And rather than go to the guy, she said, what does he want? And he just made a point of just acting all, oh, excuse me, I dropped another water. Could you bring another one? You're my favorite waitress. I'm going to come back all the time. And just made her life a fucking hell. I mean, but that is just such a demeaning thing to be like, hey, what does he want? It's like, hey, they can talk to you. Because I hated that, like with my mom, she didn't speak English, so I would go to doctors and they would just talk to me and she'd get all pissed off. Like, what the fuck? You know, I'm still here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's got all serious again. And fuck, we're going on like an hour.
Oh, okay.
I think we're going to skip Bad Dad. But I'm going to put in a final clip from Brad Williams, who is a little person, talking about people reacting incorrectly when they first meet him. Here goes.
This stuff happens to me all the time. It happens in my normal life. It happens during shows. At a show not too long ago, a group of 4 women came to my show, and one of the women in this group of 4 has something that's called achondrophobia. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a fear of little people, all right? And that shit is real, okay? It's real, and it's not, oh, he's kind of creepy. It's more like, what the fuck is that? Okay, like, it's nuts. Now, here's the best part of the story. The 3 friends brought this woman to my show, sat in the front row. All of them knew she had achondrophobia. And they were all just sitting there like, this is gonna be a hoot. Oh my God. Now, I'm all for a good practical joke. I love a good prank. Just warn me, okay? Send me a tweet, an email, something, so I know what's gonna happen. If I would have known that this woman was afraid of little people, I would have run on stage wearing a Viking helmet. Just, I would have had a good time. But I didn't know. So I walk out on stage like I'm gonna do my normal show. I reach up to grab the microphone. Before I even touch the microphone, this woman stands up and in front of the entire audience just goes, Jesus Christ!
That's so messed up. Oh my God.
Remember, I don't know why she's doing that. I'm trying to do a show. A woman yells, Jesus Christ. I start looking around. Is Tim Tebow here? So I look at her, I'm like, sweetheart, what is wrong with you? And she goes, I'm afraid of little people. All right? First of all, fuck you. How could you be afraid? How could you be afraid of little people? It's not like this shit is contagious, all right?
Yeah.
I can't walk up to you, bite your knee, and you go, I'm melting. That doesn't happen. So I asked her, I said, why are you afraid of little people? I'm going to tell you what she said. Just please understand this is what she said, okay? Not what I said. I didn't go home. I didn't write this down like, oh, I think this would be really funny. I don't think this is funny, but it's what happened. So here we go. I say, why are you afraid of little people? She goes, every time I see a little person, I just know they're gonna rape me. What the fuck?
Oh, that's crazy.
That happened at a comedy show. A comedy show. There were 3 friends were looking at me like, you can make that funny, can't you? No, I cannot make that funny.
You can
What's
make
my
that
comeback?
funny.
You're not my type. Are you kidding me? So I look at this woman. I understand it's a delicate situation. So I look at her, I'm like, sweetheart, I get it. What you just said is the most horrific thing that could ever happen to another human being. But what you have to realize is that what you just said is impossible, okay? It's impossible. It can't happen. There's no such thing as midget rape, okay? It does not exist. Now, ladies, if you're in the audience right now and you're one of these people and you're fearing midget rape, just know there is one move you can do. One move you can do that will stop all forms of midget rape. It works 100% of the time. Here's the move. Just,
He just put his palm out.
On the head, yeah.
Some of you are waiting for another move. No, that's it. That's all I do. Palm, forehead, bam. Like,
Palm
you do
to
that,
the-
I'm stuck waving. Just,
Fucking A. What is
That's
wrong with
hilarious,
people?
man. Yeah.
So, there's an example of how not to react with someone that's different.
Yeah, that one's like shocking, man. Somebody would think that.
Although I do have a friend of mine that she's terrified of little people. And, you know, we've talked about this
So
before.
the fear is
just walk in-
real, yeah, but
It's like, oh, hell no, and walk out. But I just fucking love that. Anyway, email us, thestandupdads@gmail.com. Let's try and make this a better fucking world. Email us, subscribe. Our shows come every Sunday. If you need artwork,
pencilforhire.com. That's pencil, F-O-R, hire, and pencil for hire on Instagram.
and check my side project, The Gag on This Podcast. We record every Wednesday at 5:30 at Blacktop Comedy Club in Rockland. And this Wednesday coming up, we'll have Damien Harmony.
Oh, cool.
And we're planning on doing the first few drafts of our death pool. So
so
we'll be
cool.
picking people that we're planning on passing away in 2020. So
It's a good one.
I think it'll be a fun one to show up at. So you get points. So whatever age they are at their death, you subtract it from 100, and then there's your points.
Okay.
But kind of fucked up. But anyway, and
They
have
can't already be like injured. Like,
Sure they
it's
could.
good. Really? So you could pick someone
If
that's
they're-
like they're
if they're
19
alive.
and they're on life support.
Yeah,
Ah.
you could do that, but they have to be a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be, I think Damien's going to be the judge on who's a celebrity or not.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he knows this. And Gag on This has a pod.
So you might draw the line where it's like, this is just a social media influencer. This is not a
Well,
celebrity.
then
or
you
are they-
could argue that that is a celebrity.
Yeah, so he'll have to be the decision.
Well, I think
maker.
we'll
All right.
all vote on it, but yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I've got like something like 50 names already lined up. We're going
You
to pick like
do?
20, yeah.
Wow.
So I've got a spreadsheet going,
You have a spreadsheet.
and it's got their birth dates in there, so
Wow.
the points are already ready to be calculated. Because I'm a fucking dork.
You play to win. That's what it is.
Well, Nick's into it too. So because
That's
the whole thing that brought it up was he put a Betty White meme out
Yeah.
saying that she was going to die this year, and everyone just shit all over him.
And he has to now have her on. If she's
No.
not on the Deadpool that he has, he deserves to be harassed about it because
No.
he already said she was going
But
to
the
die.
thing is, she's like 97, so you'd only get like 3 points. And we also don't want her to go. So, Betty White, live forever, please. But and then Dick Van Dyke's another one that like I'm so glad he's still around. Like when I remember seeing did you ever see the remake of Mary Poppins?
Yeah, it was cool. That
I like teared up when he started dancing around. I'm like, that's so fucking awesome.
That's so awesome. Yeah, and it's so cool that he got to be in there because he was the old man
Yeah.
in the old one. So it's kind of cool to be like he's actually the old man now. Yeah.
No shit. It's there's all sorts
My
of
friend was telling me that his daughter saw that Mary Poppins Returns and just loved it, and
Yep.
then he finally showed her the original. Even at she's 11, and she just told him that new one is garbage compared to that original.
Oh, really?
she loved the original so
Oh,
much
okay.
because it is the songs everything in that original one is good. The second one's entertaining and good, but it's nothing compared. Like that first one's like friggin' like classic, especially as a musical. It's amazing. It is.
All right.
Let us argue this point.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
Let's argue this point. This is another episode. Let's argue about Disney films. That's a good episode.
No, it's not.
As parents, yes, I'll argue with you with what
Why?
your son should have already seen by
I don't
now.
care. Okay, you win. There's the episode.
You have an opinion. I can see you don't
none.
like it.
None. Anyway, Gag on This has a sponsor, Bag of Dicks. Go to the link in our show notes, click that, put in the code Gag on Podcast. You get 20% off your order of a bag of dicks. Who wouldn't want a bag of dicks? Send it on. And fuck, I don't know. Now you got me thinking about Disney. Who was the original Mary Poppins? The actress.
Oh my God, now I'm blanking on her name. Jesus. Julie Andrews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah. The new one was good.
Well, the new one is hotter.
Yeah.
But she's better. She's better. Oh, she's great in that one. That movie's great.
It's been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah, you need to watch it again. You need to watch your mouth.
Well, it's funny because I got Disney Plus.
Yes.
And I watched Mandalorian, and that's it. My kid doesn't want it. It's
what?
like
He doesn't want to watch it?
no.
We watch but Oli's all happy because she's getting all the Disney shows that weren't on Netflix. So she's watching all these. And it's a trip to watch them now where I'm like, oh my God. Like there's one show she's watching where like most of the kids that are on it are on other shows she's watched when they got older.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this whole, like almost half of the cast is
a
on this
breeding ground.
other
Yeah.
Camp Cucamonga whatever she watched later. And
Kikiwaka?
Kikawaka. Yeah.
From Bunked. Colin watches that.
This one was
Like Kikiwaka. Camp Kikiwaka is from Bunked, the show.
oh really? It was
And
on
Bunked is a spin-off of Jessie, which I watched with my kid.
Jesse. I think is that the one where they live in a hotel?
No,
or
it's like an apartment in New York.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's the one she's watching now. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Okay, so that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, so many of those kids. I'm like, oh my God, they're all on these.
So
other
like the
shows.
first 2 years, they went from Jessie to Bunked, and then they moved on. So
What's Bunked?
That's the Kikiwaka one. The Kikiwaka. And
Yeah.
I always sing it to Owen.
But why
Stinky
was it
Kaka,
called
Stinky
Bunked?
Kaka. That's what it's called. I don't know
the
why
show
it's
is called Bunked.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. This whole time I thought it was called Camp Kikiwaka.
No. God damn it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Now I feel sad that I know more about a Disney thing than you do.
Yeah. Well, we never watched them. Well, he's watching them all now. Yeah. She likes them.
Yeah, it's horrible TV. But
Yeah.
I don't know. The one I like, though, is the Just Roll With It. Have
What's
you seen
that one? No.
Again, more diversity. So, dude with a son marries a woman with a daughter, and hilarity ensues, but it's like improv. So, like, a few times during the show, they'll sound a horn, and then the audience gets to pick one of 3 things that are going to happen to them.
Oh.
And then they have to go off of that. So, it's kind of cool to
That's
see.
fun.
And Owen's finally starting to get into it because
No, he's getting it.
he's starting to. Anyway, we have fucking rambled. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week.
But
Bye.
The thing I want to say is thank you all for coming. Bye-bye.